Okay, welcome back to Wednesday. In this video, we're going to start to build out our style guide. And before I forget, hello there. Okay, so we've jumped back into Figma and I am back on the project overview page. So we're going to look at colors and just have a look around our mood board at some of the other palettes that the competitors have been using. So these are our current brand colors. I'm actually okay with these colors. We have like a purple and a gold color, and I think the combination complements each other quite well. But it's always good to have a quick look, see what other people are doing as well. So I'm going to go back into my research file, go back into the mood board, and let's just have a look at what some of the other designs are showing us. So let's press Command / to get rid of our menus. Okay, and let's zoom in. So this is our hero section. So just going through some of these, you can see that on the color side of things, some of the websites are sticking to quite a minimal palette. So they have one color. In this case, it seems to be like an orange. They're using that for the buttons. They're using that for active states on the menus. They're using it on the logo. So that's quite stripped back, quite minimal. I think as we go through, some others have done that as well. So on here, the core color seems to be blue for the call to actions. The brand has just got a black logo mark. We got a button up here and some buttons here that are in black and grey. Again, fairly minimal palette. Okay, so looking at this design, it looks like they've taken one color and they've adjusted the saturation. So here we've got the call to action button. It's quite dark. So as you can see with the background and potentially with the active state here on this button, the saturation has been kind of reduced, but they're using one color. Let's go to another example. Again, this one is using similar colors, but they're using gradients. So that looks quite nice. So here, this one's got a couple of colors here. So you've got the black and the yellow here, quite nice contrast. Let's just move away from the hero section. Let's see what we've got in terms of full page layouts. So let's zoom up here. So again, we've got the use of one color here. It's got a nice solid purple. Again, the saturation maybe of that color has been adjusted. So you've got Trusted Companies here is a little bit darker. As we move down the page, they've got this quite bright gradient that they're using as well. And the use of whites, grays, and then black for the typography, just to balance out how things are. Okay, let's scroll down. This one again is using orange for the call to actions and also in some of the hero images. So again, sticking to one color. Just zoom into this one here. So again, we've got the use of orange. They're using that again to highlight what menu item is active. We've got it on the buttons. We've got it to highlight some text. Looks like there's some kind of overlay as well. So there's like a very light orange over this top hero image. And again, used on the primary and secondary buttons. So again, good use of color here, not too much color. So you've got gradients, you've got a solid color up here, you've got the black call to action. So it's not too overwhelming. Again, here in this example, the use of green and orange, I think, by the looks of it. So looking at the menu, so there's a little underscore here to highlight where you are in the navigation. You've got the login, you've got the get started. These are in their primary color by the looks of it, in green. You do have in the logo like a green and an orange. So those could be the core brand colors that they're using, and that's kind of used throughout the design here. So potentially there's different saturations of the orange and the green here as well being used. Okay, let's just zoom into one last one. Again, on here, the use of orange, you've got the primary and secondary buttons in a very similar color. It's being used, I guess, in different saturations here. The orange for the location icon and the calendar icon. Then you've got the nice solid color here for the button. It's being used on some of the headings and then on some of these icons down below. So yeah, it's a nice balance with the typography in black, and then you've got that core color here that's being used in a number of places. So that's me just having a quick look through the mood board. So I think I'm happy with what I've got so far, based on what I've seen in the mood board. So happy to keep using these colors. We've got our two core colors here. So what I want to do next is I want to create a separate file for our style guide elements. So this is going to include, let me zoom into our brief. It's going to include our colors, typography, imagery, iconography. It can also include our logos as well. So what I'll do is if I click on home, back into our project file, I'm going to click on create a new design file. This first page that we're on, I'm just going to create it as the thumbnail. Okay, so if I press F for frame, I'm going to use the presentation slides 16:9, and for the moment, let me just copy this out, name it thumbnail. I'm going to press T on the keyboard for the text tool, and let's type style guide, and let's just bump that up to 180 in terms of size. I haven't decided on what typography we're going to use. I haven't decided on the colors yet, so I'm just going to put this in more as a placeholder, and you'll see why in a second. So what I'm going to do is, now we've created this frame, it's got the word style guide on it. I'm going to right click on the frame and I'm going to set as thumbnail. So what happens is when you go back home and you have multiple files within a project, the thumbnail that shows here will then display as style guide. So it makes it a little bit easier to see when you've got lots of different files, just makes it a little bit easier to navigate things. And also when you hover over the different tabs, it gives you the thumbnail that you've set. So in this case, it's showing style guide. I'm just going to rename from untitled to style guide. I'll just add design with Mitch at the end. Cool. We can make this look a little bit nicer later when we're creating some reusable components, so we could potentially make a thumbnail component. But for now, I'm happy with this. It's basic, but it's gonna do the job for now. So what I'm gonna do is add another page. I'm just gonna add 3 dashes, hit return just to add a line break. Add another page here. We're just gonna add that as color. Just gonna drag that beneath the line. Now what I'm going to do is just go back into my project overview file. So I'm just going to copy these design assets just for now, just pop them in here, just as we build out our colors. I'm just going to press F for frame, and let's just add this frame up here. Let's just call this color. Okay, and what I want to do now, just to make my life easier, is create a local component that's going to be a reusable swatch that we can use to display our colors. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to quickly speed up this part of the video and create a swatch that we can use for our colors. So I will see you in a bit. Okay, so welcome back. We have created our local swatch component, and that's going to sit nicely at the bottom of this document as we build it out. I've put an underscore on the component, so when we start publishing this file, it won't publish this component to be available in other files because I only want it local to this file for the moment. Just breaking down the swatch, we have a heading, so we can give the color a name, which will be useful when we've got many of these colors on this frame. So within the swatch itself, I've added a few text components. So I want to include the RGB values, the hex values, and actually I'm just going to put this last one here as notes, just in case we want to add anything additional. For now, I'm going to keep that turned off. And this is going to keep it nice and consistent when we build out the colors for this project. Okay, so I'm just going to collapse that. What I do need to do, I think, is let's add an auto layout to this frame, and let's just give the width 1920 for now, just to make it nice and wide. Let's keep this as a fixed 260. I think that'll be fine. And let me just adjust these. I think that'll be fine. We'll just do 80 all round. I think that should be okay. Okay, I'm just going to click on T for the text tool. I'm going to click up here. I want to add some structure to this page as we build it. So I'm going to create another component here for like the page headings, just to give it some structure. Just give some space between these. Okay, so brand colors, let's make that 18. There we go, make it 18. Maybe let's make that bold so it stands out a bit more. Let's duplicate that. I'm going to select both of these, holding shift, and now press shift A. Now we've got an auto layout. Let's just reduce the spacing between these elements, and I don't want this to be 18. Let's move that back to 16, move it back to regular, and then just put enter information here. Okay, so that'll be fine. Let's give this a name. Give it a heading 1 for now. I think that's fine. Just create that as a component, and it is a local component as I put the underscore at the beginning. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. I'm just going to create a heading here for local components. Also just adjust that so it says heading here. I might cluster these together and just put them in a row for now, just to keep everything relatively tidy. Let's just give them 24 pixels between. Just check, so we've got 48 on the page. That should be fine. I'm just going to put those inside a container. I'll make the row actually full width for now. And let's just make that spacing 48. Can make that container full width as well. Okay, so I think this is all good to go. That's a copy of the heading component here. Okay, so let's add brand colors. I'm going to right click on that and reset it because that doesn't relate to brand colors. Okay, so I need a swatch here, so let's press Command C, go up here, press Command V. Just going to wrap those in a row, make that full width as well. Okay, so first one, let's select the color section here, press I on the keyboard. I want to take our first color. There we go. Let me just grab the, I think that's the hex code. Let me just click on it. Yep, so that's the hex code. And let's just grab the RGB as well. If I can remember that, let's have a look. 47, 49, 146. Okay, let me just go back and just double check I've got that right. Click here, RGB 47, 49, 146. Okay, great. What I am going to do on the container section, I'm just going to change these to white because we can't see them. And yeah, I think that looks good. So we can now see the RGB and hex codes. Okay, I need to give this a heading as well. So thinking ahead, I want to give this a specific format that I can follow for all of my colors. So I'm going to put design with Mitch, hyphen, we'll call this purple for now. And actually it looks like I need to expand the heading. I need that to fill container, otherwise that's going to keep wrapping. Okay, so DWM hyphen, we'll call this purple for now. I'm going to put hyphen 500. Okay, so we have our format that we're going to follow, DWM hyphen purple, and as a base starting point, I'm going to label them as -500. If we expand the colors either side, so if we make them lighter or darker, I can then update that number at the end of the color to show that we've got a lighter or darker grade of that color. Okay, so that is the first brand color in. Let's duplicate that. So let's just have a look at how we've named this. Let's maybe call this container. That's fine. I want to put the swatches. They should probably go in a row because I want the row to go left to right. So let's select the other one. I've selected the color layer, pressing I on the keyboard. Let's click on this nice gold color that we have. Just going to copy that hex code out. Let's just have a look at the RGB. So 235, 202, 63. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be color palette plugins that you can select colors and it just outputs the RGB and hex. But for the moment, I want to control this and I want the ability to add, remove different information inside the swatch, just so I've got that flexibility. So let's just update that color. It's going to make it black for the text so we can actually see it. It's better contrast. Okay, so that is the two colors, the two core colors for our brand in. What I am going to do is I just want to tidy up this page a little bit. So let me just collapse that. So design asset wise, I don't think we need this for the moment. I'll just copy and paste that out here. Let's create some other pages. So just for now, I'll create a YouTube page, copy and paste that there, create another page, and let's have a look. So let's copy these here. We'll call this logos for now. I'm just going to put them on this page. I'm just going to leave a comment for myself. Create logo as a component. I'm sure we'll come back to that in a later video. Okay, so back to the colors page. Let's delete that. So as we progress this project, I think these pages will start to really take shape, and we can start to add some additional components, maybe like a heading banner or something for each of these pages. But for now, I just want to keep it simple. I just want to start to establish some of these colors. I'm just going to add something under the brand colors, just so we have some text to show. So we're just going to put core colors that represent your brand's identity. Represent the brand's identity. I think that'll be fine for now. It's just a little snippet I can put in there. Okay, I think we're done with our brand colors for now. Obviously we can iterate and expand these as we go forward, but for now, for this example project that we're doing in this series, I think this is fine. What I am going to do is I want to start setting up variables as we go along. So if I click on open variables here, we have no variables at the moment. I'm going to click on create a variable. I'm going to create a color variable. Just going to rename the collection as well. Let's rename it to colors for now. Let's go in here. So let's use our naming convention that we've got here. So DWM-purple-500. Click here to get the eyedropper. Click the eyedropper. Grab the color. Okay, that's good. That's one. Okay, let's move over a little bit. Haven't got a huge amount of space on the screen. Let's click on create variable. I want to create a color. Okay, let's just adjust the naming convention here. So DWM hyphen, I'll put gold for now, put 500. I do actually need to update that on the swatch itself. So let's grab the color, add that in here. Okay, that looks good. We close that. Just going to update that to gold. Okay, so now we have variables as well. We might as well start using them. I'm just going to click on the color layer, and here we have a fill and it's given me the hex code. I think instead I'm going to apply a variable which we've just set up. So click on the 4 dots, and as you can see, it's got our variables here. So I'm just going to click on the purple. It's just going to click here, and you can click down at this level, or you can just double click until you reach the swatch color level in the layers. Going to click on fill, click on the 4 dots again, and then apply the gold 500. So now we've got these two swatches using our variables that we've set up. And again, if you want to see the variables, go click off the frame, go to local variables, click on this little icon here to open the variables, and there we go. And as we start to add more things to our variables, this is really going to start to build out. And you can also build out collections, so we could do one collection for colors, one for typography, and so on. So yeah, that is where we are at the moment. We've got our 2 brand colors set up and we've set the variables. So what I want to do now is I want to publish this file so I can access these colors, these variables, in different files. So when we come to designing in other files, I can access these colors. So what I'm going to do is go to assets. I'm just going to click on this book icon here, which is for libraries. As you can see, it brings this pop-up. It says we've got some assets created in this file. We're in the style guide file. It says publish here, so I'm going to click on publish. So now what it's telling me is we've got some changes. So here you can see we've added variable collections. It's related to colors, and we've got 2 changed variables. So if I click on the arrow, it shows me that we've added gold and purple 500. So I'm just going to click back, and I'm just going to add some notes. Okay, so I'm just adding this here. This is really great for version control, so you can keep track of the changes in your file. So added brand variables for purple and gold 500. I'm going to click on publish, and there we go. It's just publishing the file. Obviously at the moment the file is pretty small, so it doesn't take very long to do. A way to check your version history, if you click on the arrow here next to the file name and go show version history, on the right hand side it shows you any auto saves, but then it also shows you when you've made a published change. And here you can see just now added brand variables for purple and gold 500. You can go in, you can double click on it and make some changes, but I think we're fine. So I'm just going to click on close that down. Okay, so that's us done for the brand colors. So in the next video, I think we should focus on an extended palette. So something that's going to include blacks, grays, and whites. This is definitely something we're going to need when we're building out our designs or building components. So we're definitely going to need these colors as we build out our design system. Okay, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, add some comments. What's the next bit? Check out some other videos on my channel. Keep following along for this project. It's really good fun. And if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. So yeah, I will see you next week.